Hi everyone, this is Art Dill, your Emini success coach for FuturesTradingCompany.net, and a recap of our trading for January 25th, 2012, and ended up taking 5 trades today, very little to show for it. 3 winning trades, 1 losing trade. Fortunately, that was with only 1 contract, and 1 break-even trade. So ended up positive for the day, but could have been a lot better. And I'll show you a couple of trades we didn't take later that occurred during the Bernanke press conference after the FOMC rate decision today. And the one trade I did get a stop out on was really a direct result of something that he said in the press conference. I was taking long entries at that time, and so I decided to stand aside until he was done and passed up 2, which would have been very, very good entries. I'll show those to you in a moment. The market started off down today, and I was looking to try to get into a short, but I wanted to retrace to the 89, which is my favorite setup. Finally got it. Price actually broke through the 89, came back, formed a little pivot here. I had a trigger fire, but I waited until the pivot broke. That was the low there was 12,543. So we got short at 12,542. Got our first target at 12,535, and then I brought my stop to break even plus 2 ticks to pay the commission on the trade, and was hoping for this to really break and be a nice runner for us. It didn't happen. Price got to a low of 12,531 before turning back higher and stopped us out at plus 2 ticks on the final contract. So plus 9 on the first trade. The second trade didn't come until after the release of the FOMC minutes, and I'll show you where I took that. This setup actually occurred during dead zone, but you can see it was a perfect setup. Price crossing, retraced to the 89, Hall moving average turning up, and a trigger. That was a really nice trade setup, and we'll start getting those. The FOMC rate decision was released at 9:30 here, and it had a big run up. That was 12:30 Eastern time, and did get a retrace here. Was going to take this trigger, but when the trigger fired on this this bar, the ticks were quite high. We were, I believe, right around 1,000 plus on the tick chart. So I was waiting for a pullback. I got an entry at one long at 12,620, the other one at 12,613. The absolute low of the move back down here on the tick pullback. Took that contract off at 12,620. For a gain of 7 points. And the contract that I was in at 12,620 I ended up exiting that at 12,615. So got stopped out by 2 ticks there, or that would have been a very nice move to the upside. And truly should have gotten back in the trade here, but I didn't do it. But that's the entry right there on that trigger. So that second trade was a +7 and a -5. So that was a break-even trade. The third trade I took was after the lunchtime period had ended. And again, I was looking to take long trades here. The market was acting very strong. Again, this was a trade that was going to be triggered by this, going to be entered on the trigger. But again, we were very high ticks. And so when we ran up here, I waited for a pullback, and I put one entry for a contract here right above the pivot where it broke out at 12,664. I got filled on that, actually right to the tick. And I had another contract I was trying to get in at 12,657, but as you can see, price never came back to 12,657. I did get filled on the 12,664. Exited that at 12,671, and that was the end of the third trade for the day. The fourth trade I took was again long, and it was a breakout trade. As you can see, we had price retracement, came up for a couple of bars, then we had another retrace, and then price did turn up. I had a trigger, actually, that fired on this bar, but I elected to wait until we had the breakout above 12,678. So took that long at 12,679. Got one target, 12,686 for +7. And then price rolled over and stopped us out at break even on the second contract. So as you can see, I was just not getting any traction on the trades. The fifth trade I took was right here, and this was going to be I had said I wanted to take a long on a trigger. The trigger was forming here, and I took a trade entry at 12,669. Actually, one tick above this bar, and then the trigger did form. It was forming while this bar was still in the process, but the trigger did not form on that bar. It ended up forming fully on the next bar. And as you can see, had I waited until the trigger had formed, I would have never been in that entry. Was in this trade for quite a while before finally getting stopped out. And we got stopped out over here at 12,653. So I lost 16 points on that trade. And that's when I realized, and I had CNBC on, that Bernanke was answering questions about the Fed's rate decision and talking about the economy. It's not being clear that the economy was yet strengthening substantially. So the market did sell off a little bit from those comments. And that's when I decided that I still wanted to take longs, but that's when I decided to just stand aside until he was done with his news conference. And unfortunately, that caused me to miss two great trades. This trigger entry would have been right there at 12,671. I would have gotten 7 and 15 points on that trade. And then this trade, after it came back again to the 89, Another trigger entry would have been 12,674, and again, both targets. One thing I'm glad to see today, even though it wasn't a great plus day, I didn't lose any money, made a little, but the average true range today picked up pretty substantially. Very glad to see that. We've got quite a bit of things tomorrow on the economic calendar, including initial claims at 5:30 a.m. Pacific. So I am going to, because of what I'm seeing now in price action, start to trade 3 contracts. This would have been a beautiful third contract run, basically all the way up to here. So that would have been a substantial gain on a third contract. So I'm going back to 3 contracts. That's it today. I'll post my results tomorrow after we're done.